wants to learn, you know.
And you're keeping it alive
Oh
yourself.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Before we left the Navajo Nation, Walter taught me how to cook this incredible dish of lamb chops in a chili honey glaze.
I love the color of that.
So we got some chili powder,
Yeah.
and then we can get some honey. Ooh, that's really good.
Look at that.
Pine nuts are also very much Navajo
Oh yeah.
ingredient.
God damn,
The food
dude.
was so tasty, especially this delicious piece of
Lamb fat.
After cleaning up, high-fiving Walter,
Thanks so much.
and feeding Bones
You need to cover native issues more, dude. Every problem that I mention that impacts the American working class, multiply it by 10 to 100, depending on what area we're talking about, whether it be environmental racism, whether it be lack of access to educational opportunities. There you go. That's the plight of Native Americans as it stands today. Like fucking lead pipes, fucking developing intellectual disabilities or developmental disabilities, leading to developmental disabilities in children. Nuclear waste, as we've talked about. Yeah, shitty access to water. No, Malds wasn't like being snarky and saying, you need to cover Native American issues. He was just saying, like, we really don't look at it enough. And that's true. Also, many Native Americans fight for all kinds of leftist causes, from workers' rights to stopping pipelines. True. Also true. Too many important problems. Blacks were slaves to natives. Okay, it's okay to genocide them. Good call, brother. Next, you're gonna tell me that natives wanted to classic fucking reactionary point of view. By the way, one immediately says blacks. Two talks about how in their path to try to get autonomy, some natives aligned with Southerners that were slavers and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, ban them or someone ban them. I by that logic, shouldn't we wipe white people off the face of the earth and say enslaved Africans? Yeah, no, he doesn't want to think about that, because then the counter, depending on what level of Nazi he is on, the counter is either, well, black tribe leaders were the ones who sold the slaves, or what else? What else is another one? The real, like, the highest form of Nazi is actually the Jews that did the slave trade. Like, there's like different levels of Nazi, and he's just on like the lower end of Nazi. Now, the lower rung of Nazi is when you like go and Google, like, how can I fucking turn slavery back on to like indigenous genocide, to justify indigenous genocide. There's like a Nazi tier system. Okay, so he's like a level 1 Nazi. He hasn't really tried out all the arguments yet. Ultimately, you reach different levels of Nazi until you arrive at Jews did the slave trade. Okay, it's like different levels of trying to fucking desperately shift the goalpost and take away the responsibility of chattel slavery away from those who fucking did it. Okay, you're like, I'm trying so desperately to cope with the reality that human beings did such horrible things to one another, and I'm gonna find a way to somehow, you know, blame the Jews for it.
Bones to some stray dogs.
Isn't AJ Plus and Al Jazeera anti-Semitic and unreliable? Are they anti-Semitic because they have a documentary series detailing the Israeli lobby's pervasive influence on American politics? Is that why they're anti-Semitic? I assume. All state media, all private media as well, have a certain set of biases. As long as it doesn't pertain to news on Qatar or its like regional allies and I guess some of the interests of their foreign adversaries. Actually, that's not true. They're actually very good on state media. Oftentimes, very good on covering their adversaries because they actually do real journalism on that in that regard. So you have to fucking you have to look at their values, not their values, but you have to look at their interests and judge it accordingly.
Bugs.
No, it's there.
We were on our way to our final destination, the place where this video started. The drive there was very pretty and exhilarating.
Dang, wait, zoom into the cows, dude.
So many cows.
And if you remember, I was pretty delirious by the time we arrived.
Oh my god, it is late.
So we're back at Tokabe with Ben and Matt, where we ate this, and this. But let's go back to that initial question that inspired this whole trip.
So in a lot of big cities across the country, we have Chinese restaurants, we have Italian restaurants, we have Mexican restaurants, but we don't have a Native American restaurant like on every street corner. Why is that?
I think for so long, the food was very much held within the community. Mom's cooking, grandma's cooking, dad's cooking. We didn't have a lot of other restaurants to really look towards, to like design ourselves off of, to build off of.
And remember, that has a lot to do with the centuries of ruthless colonization that devastated native food culture. The forced removals, the killings, the rupturing of ancestral traditions that date back thousands of years.
So now we're at this place where they're native chefs. I mean, like really successful, highly skilled native chefs. And we can really create what we want the food to be. And we can create it in a restaurant environment that not only tells the story of the food, but tells the story of the people. And really has like the heart of it. Because what we do at the end of the day is we represent people. And that really needs a part of what the food is.
Chefs like Lois, Ben, Walter, and others are bringing about a revival of Native American cuisine and restoring it to its rightful place. And while the new native restaurant scene is still emerging, native food is already, in a sense, everywhere. It's in your pasta, it's in your curry, and it's in your dessert. Everyone's cuisine owes something to Native Americans. And who knows, maybe someday soon, we'll have Native American restaurants run by Native people telling their own stories on every street corner in every major city across this country. Because seriously, you need to try this incredible spicy blueberry barbecue sauce on these incredible bison ribs.
I've never been invited to a powwow. Is it powwow chow? I don't know if that's like a... People keep saying it in the chat. I've never been invited. I'm telling you, I'm like I don't know enough about like Native American and indigenous culture and indigenous struggles beyond like the basic stuff. I would like to be able to talk to you about JBP as I feel that I can represent JBP better than most, and I feel like what you usually have to say about him is incorrect to his actual view. Absolutely not, brother. Thank you. Have a good day. I don't care. If you think that I am intentionally misrepresenting him, sucks to suck. I'm going to continue intentionally misrepresenting him. That's the only way that you could deal with Jordan Peterson Sims. Because, again, time and time again, we have done this where you literally will... There's just no other way to describe what you are seeing in front of your eyes. Petersonian simps will deny reality that is in front of their eyes. Like, the level of mental gymnastics to continue being a fan of Peterson is so fucking incredible that it should have its own Olympics. Anyway, powwow is disrespectful to say as if it's in the wrong setting because of the spiritual connotation. I was wondering a couple weeks ago and looked it up. Why don't you ever debate people more instead of always doing personal takes? Because debates are dumb as fuck, okay? Go look at my YouTube. It's full of people that I just absolutely fucking rolled over. All of it sucks ass. It's entertaining, but they're dumb as fuck. And I still do it every now and then if it's beneficial to me personally, okay? Go to a powwow, get some dope shoes, eat some bannock, listen to some sick music. In BC, there are some potlatches similar to powwows that are open to the public. It's about sharing food and gifting to your community. Oh my god, I hate that fucking Captain America dude. He blocked me. Fuck that guy, dude. Don't... Man, those guys are such fucking grifters, dude. Those are resistance grifters. So fuck them. Let's watch another grifter. My favorite one, Dave Ribbit.
Kathy Ann, she's a filmmaker. She said Pence needs to stop mansplaining, dominating, and gaslighting the women tonight. There's a lot there. You got my feelings on the mansplaining part of it, but the gaslighting is when, in effect, it's a phrase that sort of was born online because it's the idea that you go sort of so over the top with your response to somebody that it burns.
I love this video because he's so wrong. And yet he sounds so convinced of his own idiocy. But most importantly, the irony is he's fucking gaslighting you on what he's gaslighting. Okay? That's the best part about it. He's literally gaslighting you with the incorrect definition of gaslighting.
Down the whole house. So instead of making like a cogent point, if you're arguing with somebody, instead of making like just a sensible point, you gaslight them, meaning you just say something so crazy or so over the top that you've just destroyed the whole thing. Does that seem like what quiet Mike Pence, who barely moves when he speaks and is respectful and nice and actually looked at her, did that seem like he was gaslighting? I don't think so, Kathy. All right. Think about it this way. These people that say, okay, you can have 8-month abortions. Doesn't matter why you want an 8-month abortion, you can have an 8-month abortion. Well, now, generally, those are the people who also will tell you that they're for gay people. Now, when science is able to actually identify the sexuality of a child, and now a Christian conservative, forget Christian conservative, and anyone says, I found out that I'm 8 months pregnant and my child is gay, but I don't want a gay child. I should be allowed to have an abortion. The lefties...
What? Yo! What did he just say, dude? Wait. Wow, I did not know. What the fuck? Straw man final boss? Bro, this is a straw boss, dude. You can't call that a straw man. That's the straw omega boss. That's the raid boss of straw. I've never heard this argument before, dude. This is so good.
Forget Christian conservative.
He's saying that, like, liberals want to execute kids when they're 8 months, when a mom is 8 months pregnant, and she finds out that, their son's going to be gay, they can get an abortion.
And anyone says, I found out that I'm 8 months pregnant and my child is gay, but I don't want a gay child. I should be allowed to have an abortion. The lefty's going to say yes. I don't know. They're going to have to pick. Am I for gay people or am I for abortion? So,
wow. 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 What lefty would be like, oh, my son's going to be gay? Boop, abort. Like, in the world of conservatives, they just think like women are running around like, oh, golly, it's been 8 months. Time to get an abortion just because I feel like it. Like, No one is carrying a fucking pregnancy for 8 months just to abort it at the fucking end zone. All right? That's not how this works, motherfucker. Also, how can someone figure out if their son's gay? Is that even a thing? Or is he saying in a hypothetical scenario, that's not even a thing? Like, he's just like making up, like, in the future, like, what if you could find out your son's gay and you want to abort it because you found out your son's gay? The gay gene. Let me tote it for sports. Yeah, exactly. No, mommy's out here literally fucking carrying pregnancy to like 8 months only to find out that the child is gay in the future and then executing it. It's great.
So you have to confront them with these ethical dilemmas, and usually you'll watch their heads explode because they're not that good at thinking these things through.
Dude, I love Dave Rubin, dude. He is a philosopher, dude. He's a philosopher king. Ah, you simple-minded fool. Your plebeian brain cannot comprehend the many different quantitative and qualitative analyses that are going on at all points inside of a singular brainwave that Dave Rubin has. What you fail to recognize in your simple-minded brain is that Dave Rubin is simply making a hypothetical scenario up in his mind if technological advancements were to figure out the gay gene. Then what if liberals wanted to abort their gay childs all of a sudden? Their gay children. I beseech
Dare
you.
make a pro-Trump comment. I don't know if I'm allowed.
Will
but,
certainly be censored by the
yeah,
Ministry of Truth on the internet.
Somebody's not going to be happy.
Yeah, dude. Fucking yeah, dude. Yo, people are constantly fucking censoring pro-Trump takes, dude. Oh, fuck.
About this, but in many ways,
That's why every single one of the most popular fucking political commentators, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, is a fucking diehard reactionary because of all the oppression. Oppression is when Ben Shabibo only makes 3 of the top 5 posts on Facebook and not 5 of the top 5 posts on Facebook. That's what true oppression is, which is why Facebook needs to keep working with the Heritage Foundation to consult on their algorithm.
when I was rereading it, I kept thinking, man, what they needed was a Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what was Trump, or what is Trump? He just sort of broke through all of this. If you're talking about how do you break the duopoly, how do you break the false choices, how do you break political correctness, all of these things, who has been the greatest breaker of those things? It's been Trump. So it's like, in a weird way, if the book had ended and there suddenly was this person who was just willing to do it for some very bizarre reason, and perhaps he was orange and had weird hair, like then I guess you see some hope, but you don't get the orange.
I
guy.
hate to.
Yeah. Donald Trump broke the duopoly by what? Being conservative? Like, he didn't break shit. He literally was just conservative. He looked at every single conservative position and was like, I'm that. And took it to a logical extreme. What up, Crane 88 for the 26 month streak, dude? Look at this. 26 months. Stop crying.
Okay. Let's see. Happy birthday, Dave. Keep doing what you're doing. Love your show. Will you go on Joe Rogan's podcast? And will you have Libertarian presidential VP candidate on your show before the election? Will I go on Rogan's podcast? I asked him, and our PR people asked him about a bajillion times to go on for my book. We did not get a response as far as I know, so I don't know what happened there. It's a little weird for me to say that publicly. I don't know what happened.
Wait, we gotta run that back. We gotta
Love your show. Will you go on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Gotta run that
Will you
back.
have Libertarian presidential VP candidate on your show before the election? Will I go on Rogan's podcast? I asked him, and our PR people asked him about a bajillion times to go on for my book. We did not get a response as far as I know, so I don't know what happened there. It's a little weird for me to say that publicly. I don't know what happened.
Oh no!
Dave, you're Jewish.
Yeah.
I feel, as I was listening to you for the first time, I feel kind of like I bet a lot of Jews felt in Germany, where you're like, but that's so crazy. They'd never do that. And you look back now and go, all of the signs were there. They were telling you what they were going to do. How did you miss it? Am I crazy for thinking that?
You know, it's one of those things where you start thinking it and you go, oh, could we really be there? And that's part.
Yes. The problem with the Jews in Germany was not the concentration camps, but the fact that they just couldn't be racist, I guess. That's a good analogy. Yeah. Which, by the way, they weren't. I'm just letting you know that, like, that's what is happening with conservatives, is that for Glenn Beck, not being racist is not being allowed to be racist is akin to the Holocaust at a time when, you know, Republicans run everything.
Part of why it's so hard to think about it in a clear way. Could we really be there? And I actually think the answer is yes. If these people were to get the institutional power, they will do all of the things that they purport Trump to believe in and to do that he never does.
Okay, Crystal Knocked was when Twitter flagged Trump tweets as misleading. Yeah. So I have an announcement here. Before we continue with the rest of these, if you want to see all of these clips, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to because we're running out of time right now. I got to keep running. Got to keep running. Got to keep going. Got to go fast. It's a 60-second ad break. Top of the hour every hour. Ladies and gentlemen, top of the hour every hour. 60-second ad break coming to you right now. All you need to do is subscribe if you no longer want to see the ad breaks. But 60-second ad break now.
This next question is perhaps more insulting to you, but it's also meant to be an insult to me. I'll read it and explain what it means. And so I apologize for this comment, Dave. I think it's a shitty comment, but here we go.
Wait, should I take a drink? I could do a spit take.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Should I have it in my mouth?
Yeah, here we go. Please don't pull a Baron, he means Bishop Baron, and fail to at least hint at a conversion, especially due to him being a sodomite. So let me say why I think that's a shitty thing to say.
Are you a sodomite?
Yeah, no. I love that you've been in the hot seat for so long now.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Hey, these are the homies that you're trying to fucking look. These are the fucking psychos that you're trying to befriend, dude. Oh, that's your people. Let's see what he has to say.
That this stuff doesn't bother you at all. It's like,
well,
yeah,
I suspect this person in their own belief system is probably a sinner, right?
Yep.
Like I don't, as long as this person is not doing something to try to legislate my life, or as long as you're not doing something to try to legislate my life, well, then you're entitled.
Please heed my warning. If you would just read Flameball's Cockburn's book, you would realize that Dave Rubin is right. CBT is harmful but needs further study. I beg you, stop. Please take my word for it. Stop, dude.
To your opinions, what you may or may not think about my sexuality or something, it doesn't really mean that much to me. I mean that with...
Dude, what a psycho. Dude, you are such a bitch, dude. You are such a bitch. Oh my God. You are the biggest bitch on the planet, dude. Someone just called you a fucking sodomite, okay, for being gay. And asked a question about conversion therapy. And you're like, as long as they're not trying to legislate my existence away, I'm fine with letting other people be fucking psychopaths. Like, come on, dude. You are such a spineless, cowardly bitch. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, dude. It's like the equivalent of like someone in Candace Owens' fucking audience calling her the N-word and then her being like, well, guess what? It's still better than what liberals want to do to me. Like, no, it's not. That's literally at the peak. Like, that's the top, okay? There's nothing worse than that because that implies that if they had any power whatsoever, they would kill you, okay? They wouldn't think twice. They were dehumanizing you. You are not human. Woo! Fuck! Yes, for those of you who didn't know, yes, Dave Rubin's gay. Like, wow, that was crazy. I gotta run that back, dude. That's wild.
With all due respect, to your opinion, for as long, I don't, as long as this person is not doing something to try to legislate my life, or as long as you're not doing something to try to legislate my life.
Sodomite means ass fucker.
Well, then you're entitled to your opinions. What you may or may not think about my sexuality or something, it doesn't really mean that much to me. I mean that with all due respect.
Especially if you say it like that.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, all right.
It's like
so
someone comes up to you in the street and
something...
pokes their tongue out and runs away. You're like, not sure what to do with this, you know?
No, it's very different than a juvenile response. It comes from the same place of like not having a developed brain, certainly, but it's infinitely different than just sticking out your tongue like that and behaving in a childlike way. No, this is vile and hateful. Why would they cape for this? Oh, that's so tight. That's fucking tight, dude. That is tight.
Just scrolling through.
A lot of sodomite.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of anti-Semitism that I wasn't aware of until I said I was going to interview you. Like, people are like, yeah, there's some assholes on the internet. Life is more about legislation.
Damn, he gets more offended about being Jewish and like seeing anti-Semitism than being gay and experiencing homophobia. That's kind of weird. Like,
we want you to go to heaven. All right, good. I'm glad. I'm sure.
Yes, he's Jewish as well. Chad, god damn, you guys knew nothing about Dave Rubin. You're like, half the chat's like, what? He's Jewish? Or the other half of the chat's like, what? He's gay? What the fuck?
Just glad that you want him to go to heaven.
Thank you. Yeah, show us this phone. This old...
Why would it be surprising that you have homophobic anti-Semites in your audience when you're a conservative commentator?
Samsung makes it. I visited that company in Korea.
Yeah.
Samsung.
And it's ringing right now.
It is. Actually, hello? Hey, Cannon, where are you? I just got back to school from our game. Oh, you didn't have a game today? We had two. I had to get up at 6 a.m.
Oh, my God.
I got a list. You got a doubleheader this coming Saturday.
Why did he keep this? Why did they keep this in the cut? I've never seen this before. By the way, this is his idol. Like, he always said, like, I want to be exactly like Larry King.
How did you do?
Oh, it was live.
All right, Ken, when am I going to see you? Tonight I'm tied up. Tomorrow I got to do that. How about Thursday? How about Friday? Okay, I'll be there. I love you, Ken. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. What? What? No, what? Today? That's great. The Dodgers.
Bro, that's such a... Oh, my God. He's still going. Hold on. Bro, look at this move, okay? Larry King is just like, how do you... Look at his feet, dude. Like, human beings are not... Like, they should not be able to do this. Look at the way... Like, this is not even leg crossing. Like, I don't know what he's doing, dude. Aside from that, he's still alpha dogging the shit out of Dave Rubin here by just continuing this conversation. I don't know if it's because his brain is like completely fucking rotted or because he legitimately is like, no, fuck you. Like, this is how I feel about you.
Bye. Well, folks, the Dodgers got Mookie Betts.
But this Trump win, it's a pushback on big tech. It's a pushback on mainstream media. Like all of you people who have consistently gotten everything wrong, you did it again. You got it wrong again. And you losers. And now I'm going to do this will be a little bit of a patting myself on my own back.
Is he drunk?
You losers at the Lincoln Project, like you people who clearly can't maintain an erection so that you then decide that you have to spend your life just being against one thing, this orange man. It's like, you guys got to go away now.
Wait, he thinks it's erectile dysfunction that the Lincoln Project became grifters? First of all, they are grifters. They probably also can't get hard unless they're talking about, I don't know, a black teenager being executed by the neighborhood watch or something. I think that's the only time Rick Wilson's ever gotten a half chub in the past 25 years. Or Muslims being killed by the glorious weapons of the American Defense Department. You know, like laser-guided missiles from Raytheon straight up obliterating school children. That's the only time that I hear that people at the Lincoln Project can get a chub. But having said all of that, that's not the reason why they're doing the Lincoln Project. The reason why they're doing the Lincoln Project is because they're like, oh yeah, we can fucking milk money from these idiotic liberals while also whitewashing our horrific agenda for bringing Trump to the forefront by doing reactionary politics for the past fucking 25, 30 years. That's it. It's a great way to fucking milk those liberals. It's like suckle on the teat of big liberalism.
And Chris Hayes, that little dork on MSNBC, Trump and the right, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But that doesn't mean we can't mock you guys or at least ignore you guys. Like all of you people who've gotten everything wrong. Bill Kristol, you've gotten everything.
You shouldn't be shocked that he is gay, Jewish, and conservative. Like there is definitely more to it than Dave Rubin.
We're not going to do.
You want to know? I mean, there are a lot of gay, Jewish conservatives in fucking Hollywood and shit too. It's just you're rich. That's it. If you're rich and you're cisgender, yeah, it's not shocking at all.
Do that, but that doesn't mean we can't mock you guys or at least ignore you guys. Like all of you people who've gotten everything wrong. Bill Kristol, you've gotten everything wrong. David Frum, you've gotten everything wrong. You guys got to go away now. But all of these people who just got everything wrong, who have refused to see the world as it is and could only see the world as they wanted it to be, it's like, no. And the pollsters, you guys got everything wrong. How is it? I am one guy. I sit here. My producer, Michael, is in the room. It's a small room. It's about, 12 feet by 12 feet. I got my dog at my feet. I got Michael here, and we write out a couple things, and then I do this show. And for some reason, what I've been able to do makes a lot more sense to a lot more people than the nonsense that's coming out of mainstream media.
Not true.
If we're going to say trust the scientists, which is a silly notion, right? You know, there's a lot of evil scientists out there. There's a lot of bad guy scientists out there. Have you ever seen a science fiction movie? I mean, not every scientist is right about everything. And by the way, you know what happens in science? You're not going to believe this, guys. There are often discoveries that then get debunked by things after that as we get finer instruments and more information and the rest of it.
Which is precisely why you should never trust science, because all science can ultimately be debunked. Therefore, never trust the science. Well, wait a minute. Aren't you saying that the scientists are debunking the previous science? In which case, well, what if that gets debunked? I don't know. Fuck it. Let's not think about that at all, okay?
Science is often in the business of debunking science. That's the beautiful thing, you know? Does he end up signing bills that increase the debt and the rest of it? Yeah, because the whole system is out of whack. There's no money left, and yet we keep, more stimulus. We have literally no money.
How much debt are we in right now?
Trillions and trillions of dollars, and it's going up. I think we just signed another $2.2 trillion stimulus. It's like the number. How do we get out? Well, I hate to tell you.
Are we ever going to get out of this? Or is it just you go bankrupt and you say start again?
Can I whisper how we get out? I mean, it's called war. the sad truth is it seems to me that we're in an almost unavoidable conflict with China now. They have so much of our debt that we know we can never pay it back. There's nothing, like, short of like some sci-fi, we find a planet somewhere that has unobtainium, like in Avatar, and we mine it and sell it to the Chinese here, although we would get in a war over who's going to get there first. Like, they're our debtors, and we've got more weapons than our debtors right now. That's, I mean, talk about a mafia move. It's like, we sort of know, we can keep borrowing from them because we got all the nukes, and, you know, they've got some stuff, but, you know, we've got bases everywhere. It's a seriously depressing, like, unpleasant thing to think.
They got more people, can't
Like, are you fucking 3 years old? Like, this is literally how, like, 12-year-olds think. This is how 12-year-olds think, dude. Oh, like, America has a lot of debt. And some of it, or a good chunk of it, is with China. So China is gonna what? Like, China is gonna, like, forcibly try to get America to pay that debt or something. Like, what the fuck? What is he saying? Like, his face is like, what the fuck am I doing? He's saying attack China to get rid of it. He's partially correct that that's the purpose of the U.S. military, maintain the hegemony. Certainly. But also, both the United States and also China knows that if that was to escalate to actual fucking conflict, it's a wrap for the world for the most part. Like, that's not how this works. Like, real mogul moves from Dave Rubin.
Can't they just create more weapons and have more
They got
money
more
and-
people. I suspect they're probably cloning people too. That's a whole other thing. I mean, we know we can clone dogs, and you know, you can
Ears
clone
and
sheep,
everything,
or we can, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, if we can clone dogs right now, which there's commercial cloning of dogs happening right now.
What? What? Oh.
Yeah, my brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hit us again. Come on, go. I have to say that my brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
When did he say that? Was that?
Oh, it's one of his greatest. R.I.P. Oh my god, it's so good. Do you not think U.S. capitalism will not destroy the world before it collapses absent a revolutionary movement? I don't know what'll happen. I think inevitably we'll have American fascism with no revolutionary counterforce. He's actually right. You can get your dog or pet clone. Look it up. Yeah, you can't clone humans though, dude. What the fuck? For now, it's Michael Brooks. He was a co-host of the Majority Report and also the host of the Michael Brooks Show. He's a great leftist commentator who passed away this year. I think he had an aneurysm. But yeah. Remember that time you asked me about dryjacking? Yeah, I do. I went on a show, and he was like, and his show is very serious. Like Michael he was a very funny guy. Like he was a big fan of humor. We have a similar brain rot, and we had a similar fascination for the intellectual dark web and the weirdos in the intellectual dark web, and I had him come on my show, and we had a wonderful interview, and I mean I love the dude, right? We used to talk all the time, but he once had me on a show, and his show is very serious. Like, his show is very thoughtful, very serious. It was one of the few shows on the left that actually talks about in a serious way about like international leftist politics. Oh, here it is. I still have him blocked, by the way. I still have Sahil blocked.
Something that has been making the rounds on the left.
Yeah.
And it's a ferocious debate. And it is about, I don't know if I should do this, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. Are you familiar with the concept of dryjacking?
This is a really interesting direction for this show, Hassan. No, I'm not. I'm guessing you are.
Never mind. Let's not do it then. Never mind. It's not. It's just something that everyone wants. This is something that I ask people now, but we're not going to get into
Ask
it.
me on your. You know what? You know what? You know what,
Sorry.
Hassan? Ask me when I'm on your show, and I will.
Okay, we'll do that.
I will get into the details of because you know what the real thing is, man, is that after you, it's not just that it's my show.
Yeah, this is the worst part.
Which is, of course, a big deal. But it's also that, do you know who Milton Alamati is?
I do not.
He's like a mentor of mine. He's a fucking genius. And he just classes up the whole place. So to me, it's I already feel bad enough that we're going to make fun of Dave Rubin before he comes on to talk about like Thomas Sankara. I can't be talking about dryjacking 20 minutes or 30 minutes before Milton Alamati's on. I can't do it.
I'm
not
so
right.
sorry. I know. I shouldn't have done that.
You know what you will like though, Hassan. I'll tell you this story. This is the Milton Alamati story. I'll tell you. Leading Nelson Mandela into Gapper, I sent a DM to Milton Alamati, Dave Rubin, or these guys at the California Democratic Convention.
I'll do either. It's your show, and I've already disrespected the boundaries by memeing entirely too close to the sun. So let's do whatever you want to do. I'm ready. I'm prepared. And again, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
But I will ask you in private what the answer to that question is, or when you come back on the show, if you ever want to.
You literally are gonna have to explain what that means to me, though. Like, not right now. But I'm not playing dumb with you.
I was about to too. I was like, no.
I don't know what it means. My guess would be that I'm too.
Oh no, dude. Oh fuck. The full interview, you can find it too. Here, I got both of them here.
We did it. I think it's pretty good.
We're here.
This is oh my god, look at how ugly my fucking background was, dude. Look at this. Michael Brooks, Obama impressionist. What was I thinking with this background, dude? Y'all never fucking... You know who actually made me change it? And that was the last time Hassan ever asked to guess anything or chat ever suggested on a real show. Oh, yeah. Part of the reason why I never actually fucking have the chat on anymore. Part of the reason why I never have chat on anymore when I'm doing these sorts of discussions is literally because you guys are the fucking absolute worst. Like, you guys are terrible. Like, you're just terrible. Seeing it on the TMBS format makes it worse than from your end. Yeah. Dude, look at. Dude, what the fuck? Top Dono jank. No, this was so much fun. This was so much fun. What the fuck was going on with my hair? At least back then you were honest and not putting books on your wall that you don't read. True. Who got you to change your background? Oh, it was Jake and Bake, dude. Jake and Bake live, I think once. I think it was him. He once said like, yo, your background fucking sucks. And like, it stuck with me. Like he said, your overlay's trash. And it stuck with me. And I changed it immediately. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I guess it does suck. Your background's still ugly? I don't have a background anymore. It's just this. Like, anyway, all right, let's get back into it. Fired director, U.S. Cyber, Chris Krebs. Ugh. COVID. 1 year after coronavirus symptoms were first detected, CBS returns to Wuhan. Oh, no. Hey, guys, it's time for a fucking epic Chinese flex. Are you ready for this? Oh, Trump wants to pardon his kids and Jared Kushner? Doesn't that mean that they have to fucking admit guilt? Along with discussion of a pardon for Giuliani, Trump has talked with his advisor about his pardons for his children and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Trump told his advisors he fears the Biden Justice Department will seek retribution against his family. DOJ investigating presidential pardon bribery scheme. Yeah, we talked about it briefly. You committed a great sin by completing a Demon Souls boss off stream. Will you compensate Gaming Frogs for this valuable lost gaming time? Gaming now? Yeah, I will. It's coming soon. I would pardon if I was him, lol. It also means they can't plead the fifth if called to testify. I think the funniest part is like, I don't think they're gonna fuck him. Like, can you give out preemptive pardons? Chat, remember when I said this not a year ago, but in the beginning of this year, when I said Donald Trump is like a couple months ago, I said Donald Trump is going to try to preemptively pardon himself. He's going to try to like write off a fucking pardon for himself in a letter and like try to fucking ship the letter out or something and time it. You can't do that, but technically there is no... You can't do that, but you can't not do it either, okay? Just because it's never been done before doesn't mean that you can't do it, okay? You can give out a preemptive pardon. See, Nixon, he was never charged with a crime. Yes. But also, not Nixon. Nixon didn't do it to himself. The question here is, can you do a preemptive pardon before a crime? Or the real question is, can you pardon yourself? And there's a couple different historical references you can point to. I think one of them is Abe Lincoln doing like a mass pardon by mail. That's one instance throughout history that you can. That's one instance throughout history that you can point to. And then Ford, the pardon also comes along with an admission of guilt, though. And the issue here is like, what would he be charged with? Like, if he pardoned himself, what would he be charged with? Like, let's say would it be a fucking entire laundry list of things that he's pardoning himself for premeditatively? Like a premeditated pardon? But what would be the crimes? And if it's outside of the crimes, then wouldn't that mean that like if they fucking caught him with something else outside, then he can't pardon himself for that? Preemptive, not premeditative. Okay, preemptive pardons, whatever. Don't pardons only apply to federal crimes rather than state crimes? I don't know. What? No, I think you can pardon for everything. Right? Not just federal. Is it just federal crimes? I did not know that. Well, then it doesn't matter. I guess then it doesn't matter as far as like, read it was just federal crimes. You can't leave the. I don't think you can leave the. I don't think you can leave the fucking slot blank, dude. I guess one thing he could do is get his own DOJ to investigate himself immediately. Okay. Find wrongdoing for all the things that he could potentially get charged at the state level by, and then pardon himself immediately in like the last, 2 months. And then maybe like take advantage of like a double jeopardy situation. Kind of like Jeffrey Epstein's investigation. Jeffrey Epstein's investigation at the state level in Florida allowed him to not be pardoned, but basically get immunity from a potential federal investigation. So this would be the opposite of it. He can resign and Pence can pardon him. That's true. He could do that too. Nixon's pardon was never challenged in court. It was given, but it was never ruled constitutional. The main issue is that by pardoning himself, he becomes his own judge, which is unconstitutional. He can't be charged with the crime while... Oh, that's true. He can't even be charged with the crime while he's president. Fuck. This is for his pardon. Now, therefore, I, Gerald Ford, President of the United States, pursuant of the pardon power conferred upon me by Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, have granted, and by these presents do grant a full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon for all offenses against the United States which he, Richard Nixon, has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period. Yeah, but those are all actions that he might not have been convicted of, but still got a pardon for, but that's in the past. I don't think you can do it for the future. I mean, I'm sure they'll find like some way to fucking make it work with legalese if they even tried to do that. Can Trump really pardon himself? Oh shit, Vox
So
did a video on
recently,
this as
President
well.
Trump made an odd comment about the presidential pardon.
The pardons are a very positive thing for a president. I think you see the way I'm using them. And yes, I do have an absolute right to pardon myself, but I'll never have to do it because I didn't do anything wrong.
As bizarre as that may sound, Trump isn't entirely wrong. Since taking office, Donald Trump has pardoned 5 people. The act of pardoning criminals doesn't create many political allies, so presidents usually wait until later in their term to issue pardons. The past 2 presidents only began granting pardons late in their second year. Trump, on the other hand, has already begun to exercise his pardon power, and with several people close to the president being investigated by the special counsel, Trump's pardon power might come in handy.
Some argue that by issuing pardons this early in his presidency, Trump is sending a signal that he is willing to bail out any of his political allies who might be targeted in the future by the Russia investigation.
So what does the US Constitution have to say about the president's power to pardon?
Well, the Constitution provides specifically for the president's pardon power. It says that the president may pardon individual offenses, federal offenses, not necessarily state offenses. And he cannot use the pardon power to avoid impeachment.
But as with most powers bestowed by the US,
Dinesh D'Souza was, someone asked why he was pardoned. Dinesh D'Souza was convicted of straw donations, like setting up straw donations, basically campaign contribution violation, and served a prison sentence for it, and then got pardoned after, I believe. Yeah, he violated campaign finance laws in a country where you can basically do whatever the fuck you want as long as you set it up ahead of time. Like being the fucking silliest bitch ever, basically.
U.S. Constitution, the presidential pardon comes with checks and balances.
One of the principles underlying the separation of powers is that no one should be a judge in his own cause. So we have a system of the separation of powers. And that separation of powers is one of checks and balances.
The first possible check to Trump's pardoning power could come through the judicial branch.
When presidents take office, they're bound by the Constitution to take the oath of office. And in that oath, they make a promise to
faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
That language of faithful execution, the idea is that this language migrated from private law documents that limited trustees, limited corporate executives, that they couldn't embezzle, right? They couldn't self-deal. They couldn't use their powers to benefit themselves to the detriment of others. A future prosecutor could go into court. Trump would walk in and say, look, I signed the pardon, with the papers that say, look at my signature the way he always does. And the judge says, sorry, that piece of paper is not legally valid because it violated the part of the Constitution that requires faithful execution.
The next check to Trump's pardoning power could come from the legislative branch, from Congress.
There's a clause in the Constitution that basically says Congress has the power to make laws to ensure that the Constitution is followed by all branches of the government.
So the argument is that if Congress has the ability to regulate the means, they cannot take away the pardon power, but they may be able, if it's necessary and proper, to limit, for example, corrupt pardons or illegal pardons that would otherwise be unconstitutional, for example. It's possible, let's say the president pardoned everyone who was white because for racist reasons, for example. That would clearly violate the Constitution. There's almost no way to get that into court. The only response here can actually come from Congress.
The most obvious check to...
What do you mean, brother? This is real racism. Not letting the president pardon every white person is real racism. Fuck you, lady.
Trump's pardoning power, though, is one that Trump's own legal team has publicly recognized.
The president of the United States pardoning himself would just be unthinkable, and it would lead to probably an immediate impeachment.
Rudolph Giuliani was promoting baseless claims of widespread election fraud, talked about a pardon with President Trump as recently as last week. That's so good. Oh God. Curb your enthusiasm music. President Trump has discussed with his advisors whether to grant preemptive pardons to his children, to his son-in-law. You know he wanted to, and to his personal lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, and talk with Mr. Giuliani about pardoning him as recently as last week, according to two people briefed on the matter. Well, first of all, he's been impeached since then, which is pretty funny. And secondly, you know he asked to fucking pardon himself too. You know he did. God, he has this is so funny. Isn't discussing preemptive pardons illegal? No.
Trump can pardon whoever he wants, even if that means shielding his political allies from the Mueller investigation, and even plausibly himself. But he would almost certainly face impeachment hearings in Congress for doing so. And as the Constitution makes clear, that pardoning power cannot be used to shield from impeachment. So, in some ways, voters themselves serve as a powerful check against the president's pardoning power. But of course, this all depends on Congress's willingness to move forward with impeachment should the need arise.
Elections are a crucial check because all of the departments are the people's servants, ultimately. I think it's a tremendous political mistake myself for him to have urged that he has the absolute power, because no one in America thinks we have a monarch, whether you love Donald Trump or not.
Yeah, they were wrong. Like, this is like, we're 2 years into the presidency at this point. Like, we're still trying to like comprehend exactly how bad it will get. No, we literally like 70 plus million people straight up are like, no, I want a monarch. No, I definitely want a monarch. I've decided, like, the gas